When looking back at the two games last week, could you critique your team's performance overall?
I think you have to look at it in two ways. First of all, I would be foolish not to give both programs and teams credit. I'll start with Colorado. I thought they played an excellent game. The way they shot the ball and making big plays, executing under pressure, and we knew before the game that they were a very, very good team, and they proved it to us. They certainly were the better team throughout the game, and we rallied and ended up having a remarkable comeback to win. Utah, I don't know if there's a more improved team from a year ago than what they bring to the table, and they've shown that in the non-conference season that they had, and their first two games could have won both. Larry's done a great job in a short period of time just bringing a quality team to our conference, and I have no doubt that they're going to be a tough team to beat, especially when they have you at their home court. We couldn't play better, and I'll say this, that so much of conference play is, can you win when you're not at your best? And for us, there are a number of things through this weekend that we could have done better. We have a higher ceiling, maybe that we're not at yet, and I also believe that prior to those two games, we had shown a higher quality of play across the board, offense, defense, individually. But the fact that we won, that's what it's about, and that we're 2-0. To defend your home court is part of having a great season, and those two games are now behind us. So the focus becomes moving forward on learning from what we can do better and making sure that we establish a higher quality of play, period.
Now, we've heard you say a couple of times this season that we may not have been at our best over the course of the game, long periods of time during the game, but are able to pull out a win at the end. What does that say about your team's ability to play hard from start to finish and be there at the end to make plays to finish games?
Having a big heart as a team, having a collective will to play it all the way to the end, to have the confidence and belief in yourself that regardless of the circumstances, that you still have a chance. Sometimes that will is more important than how good of an executing team you are, and it's important that we continue to keep that will. We're in January right now, and we have a lot of basketball for the first time behind us, but yet we also have a lot in front. We're in around the halfway point. So that's as important of a quality for us moving forward that we continue to have. And even this weekend, I felt with some of the things we didn't do well, it was good to see us make those big plays and finish games strong and do the things at the end of the game that you want good teams to be able to do. And Mark Lyons' free throws under pressure, him being able to do that, it's a quiet fact that we have on our side, but it's a much more difficult thing to do than I think a lot of people realize. And the number of times he's delivered with both makes as opposed to making just one or missing the front end can be the difference, that alone. So I think besides our collective will that we just talked about, he's done an incredible job finishing games for us.
You just mentioned some of the things that you can do better. Obviously, we're in the conference play now, but what are the things that you can do to try to get the team moving in a more positive direction, at least in your mind?
We didn't play with great effort defensively for 80 minutes or 85 minutes this weekend. We didn't. There were times when we gave great effort, and that was reflective on if they scored, they scored over our defense. But we had a number of breakdowns that it wasn't about the tactical part of it. It was about just a high effort level collectively during that possession. And there are also some things that we have to get better at defending the three-point shot. If you look at us statistically, there are a lot of things that we've done well. That's the one area where at times we've done it well, but when we've been in trouble against a team like Southern Miss or Florida in non-conference, and then this weekend against Utah and Colorado, teams have really shot the three well, and we have to look at that, keep working to get better at that. I know we can be better, and that's a real point of emphasis for us right now.
You mentioned the Florida game, the Southern Miss game, even the Colorado game, where we've closed the game with, sort of a pressing up-tempo kind of defensive style. Is there any thought in terms of adding some more of that to the repertoire, or is it just more sharpening what we do day to day?
Sharpening what we do day to day. Pressing at the end of a game is much different than pressing throughout the game. Pressing at the end of the game when you're trying to make a comeback, the other team's much more guarded. They're not as much trying to attack your press as they are to secure the ball, make free throws. And the same with your team. The price isn't as big to pay once the ball's crossed half court, because inevitably many times, especially when we've pressed, we're going to foul. But when you start pressing during the game and that team isn't holding the ball, they're trying to score, and then when you cross over the half court line, that they're trying to continue to score and you're not going to foul, that's a much different scenario. We're looking at maybe mixing it in a little bit, but we have a foundation and a way of playing defense that works, and for us it's a matter of getting better at that foundation.
With the Oregon game on the schedule for Thursday, what are your thoughts on the Ducks?
I think they're one of the best teams not only in our conference, but I really believe in the country. They are an incredible rebounding team on offense. They have an excellent coach, a style that's very up-tempo and very attacking, both defensively and offensively. They challenge you really in every phase of the game. I know that they're a very good team at home, and I think it will clearly be one of the hardest games that we play all season. And it will be one of the hardest games for any team in our conference to play Oregon at Oregon, and ditto for Oregon State. I think they're a talented team and certainly capable of beating every team in our country. But we respect Oregon a great deal, and we know it's going to be a really hard battle. And on our end, we have to play better than we played this weekend to have a chance to win that.
Now, obviously, you're undefeated, number 3 in the country. Are there things that you tell the team to get them ready to play, knowing that you're going to get every team's best shot?
This weekend was, to me, the message sent loud and clear that every team that plays us, especially in McKale Center, relishes the opportunity to leave that game with a win. It's a win that will have great meaning towards their season, especially with postseason aspirations, and we're going to take the other team's best shot. But you know, for us, that doesn't mean a whole lot other than our consistency with our effort level always has to be in place. And I think for us to achieve the goals that we have and continue to have the season that we've had to this point, you know, that's a prerequisite. Effort level and consistency. There are times we're going to turn the ball over. I'm sure there are going to be times where we don't make shots, some that are open. That happened some this weekend, but we can always control the process leading to the game, how we practice, how we prepare, and to really make sure we're a hard-playing team and that we don't beat ourselves from that perspective. So sometimes it's not what the coach says, but it's actually feeling it through the other team, and I thought this weekend taught our team that very well.